Hello, and welcome to the Soulful Self-Development Podcast. I'm so glad you're here. My name is Hannah Sutherland. I'm a lover of all things self-care, personal development, and spirituality. I have created this podcast to help you grow into the most soulful version of yourself while creating more joy, magic, and purpose in your everyday life. If you're ready to live a life so full, then you, my friend, have come to the right place. Thank you so much for tuning in today, and now let's dive deep. Hello, you beautiful souls, and welcome back to another episode of the Soulful Self-Development Podcast. Today's episode I am very excited for because it is officially Gemini season, and I am so excited to share all about this energy with you. This one is so special to me because I am a Gemini sun, and also my Mercury is in Gemini. So I connect a lot with this energy, and I have a very deep understanding of this energy. So I hope that I can share this with you and help you all understand the energy of Gemini and truly how beautiful and special it is. To start, Gemini season takes place from May 21st to June 21st. So if you are born between these dates, then your sun is also in Gemini. And also if you're born close to the cusp of these dates, so anywhere from May 18th really to June 23rd, it's a cuspy, so you will have, and you can have energy of both Taurus and Gemini, or both Gemini and Cancer. I have a cousin whose birthday is the 19th, and I see her having a lot of Gemini energy. I see her being her and I are very similar. And I see the Taurus in her as well, but I see a lot of Gemini energy in her too. So if your birthday is close to the cusp and you feel you connect with this energy, just know that you can have traits of both, or more traits of Gemini than you may think you might. And again, astrology is so complex, so just because you don't have your sun in Gemini doesn't mean you don't have Gemini energy. We are all made up of all 12 signs, and every single one of us has Gemini in one of our astrology houses. And also you can have any other placements like the moon, your nodes, things like that in Gemini energy as well. So let's talk about the energy of Gemini. Gemini's energy is air, which represents the mind, and it's ruled by Mercury, which is the planet of communication. So Geminis are never short on ideas or lacking information. Gemini's energy is very curious, busy, quick-witted, social, lively, energetic, and intelligent. They can also be very scattered, indecisive, unreliable, and a bit of a blabbermouth because, what can I say, we love to share information. And I think that Gemini can be one of the most misunderstood signs because people think of Gemini and think two-faced, but it's not two-faced because we are saying one thing over here and saying another thing over there. It's because the energy of Gemini is very adaptable, and because we have so much information and we love to share information is a very important and core part of who we are and our beliefs. So when we have this information, we want to share it with everyone because it makes us so excited. It lights us up. We're like, wow, this is so cool. I want to tell everyone. I want everyone to know this. And so they can come off as being gossipy because of sharing information, and they can become off as two-faced because people think that they are changing who they are based on who they're around, which is kind of true, but not in a malicious way. It's not because they're trying to fit in or whatever. It's just because they know so much. They have so much information that they love to share, that they always kind of have somewhere that they can fit in with whoever they're around, and they'll just bring out that part of themselves when around that person. So for example, maybe you hanging out with somebody that loves dance and music, then you're going to share all the things with them that you know about dance and music. But if you are hanging out with a different group of friends and they really like hockey and sports, then you're going to share with them what you know about hockey and sports. It's more about being adaptable to the situation that you're in than it is about being two-faced. Geminis can pick up on information very quickly, and they are always thinking. They love to learn new things, and you can often find them trying to do so many things at one time, which is part of what makes them so intelligent, because they aren't just going to dive deep into one thing. They are going to dip their toes into many different things. So something that is very Gemini is a jack of all trades, a master of none. Because we find way too many things to be interesting and want to learn about them to only know one thing on a mastery level. Not that Geminis can't become masters of things, but if we're going to become masters of one thing, we're going to become masters of a lot of things, because there's too many things that are exciting for us. Geminis are social butterflies and love engaging and interacting with people, and their energy is very centered around communication. So they very much value having conversations and being able to talk to people. I have to remind myself about this when meeting people, especially when it comes to dating people, because I will have a really good conversation with somebody and I'll be like, oh yes, like this is going to be great. And then I have to remind myself, I am really good at having conversations with everyone. Having conversations with people is one of my strengths for sure, 100%. I love talking, and I can talk about all kinds of things all day long, hence why I have a podcast. So just because you have a really good conversation with somebody doesn't mean anything, doesn't mean you should start dating them, doesn't mean it's going to turn into anything, because again, I know that I'm good at having conversations with everybody. So, a little bit about Geminis. So, Geminis are represented by the symbol of twins, which is symbolic of the duality, because Geminis are able to see and understand both sides of the coin. Because they gather all the information, they can see both sides. They are both sides. They are two halves of the same whole. So the story that comes behind Gemini is from Greek mythology, and it is about the twins of Castor and Pollux. They both have the same mother, Leda, but Pollux was the son of Zeus, who seduced her, and he was immortal because Zeus was his father. And Castor was the son of Tidus, which was her actual husband. And the twins were warriors. They fought in battle together, and Castor died. So Pollux went to Zeus and asked him to give Castor immortality because he didn't want to live without him. So Zeus put them in the sky together forever. So when you see the Gemini constellation in the sky, it is the brothers together. Which is another part about Gemini that is a little bit misunderstood because, again, of the twins, it's not two-faced. They are so loyal. We are so loyal. If we love you, and we will protect you, and we will be there, and we won't give up on you. And it does. We will get to this when we talk about that. And Gemini is like the third house, and that has to do with platonic and sibling and relationships and community as well. So that ties into the story of the twins as for representing their energy as well. If you have a Gemini as a sun sign, so if you're born between May 21st and June 21st, this energy is what people find the most bright and exciting about you. You are quick-witted, funny, lively, playful, curious, energetic, and intellectual. You're a social butterfly, and you can have a conversation with anyone because you are so full of information and ideas. Your thoughts move at a mile per minute, and you love to pursue many different interests, hobbies, and ideas. If your moon sign is in Gemini, this depends on the day and time that you are born, because the moon moves into a new sign every 28 days, and it stays in the sign for 2.5 days. So this energy is how you feel the deep inside. So people that have Gemini moons are curious, versatile. People that are Gemini moons have curious and versatile minds. They value being able to express themselves. especially through words, and communication is very important to them. And it's the best way for them to process emotions and inner feelings. You may enjoy attention and you would do very well socializing in communities where you feel comfortable in and have a safe space to be able to have intellectual conversations and have people to chat with. Because the moon represents how we feel deepest on the inside, people that have a Gemini moon, although they love to communicate and talk, they might not be as visibly outgoing to the outside world as a Gemini rising or a Gemini sun, because those are more Gemini risings and Gemini suns more can have these conversations with anyone. When it comes to our moon sign, we don't always show everybody that part of us, that part of who we are. So if you're a Gemini moon and you can find yourself a community that you feel comfortable around, that you can have these conversations because you so deeply love having these conversations, you love being communicative, you all have all these ideas and thoughts that you would like to talk about, but just being able to find that safe space for you so that you feel able and welcome to share your voice and opinions. Versus a Gemini sun's just going to talk till they're blue in the face. They don't care if anyone's listening. I think they just need to talk. If you have a Gemini rising, so if your rising sign is in your first, if Gemini is in your first house of astrology, it would have been at the easternmost horizon at the moment that you were born. And this represents us, our ego, and it's essentially a mask of how we come off to the outside world. So to the outside world, Gemini risings come off as talkative, intellectual, bright, curious, and always down to have a conversation. You always have so many ideas and you might feel overwhelmed because you desire to do all of these things at one time. You're always smiling and easily adapt in new situations. You desire a lot of mental stimulation and enjoy spending time with other people. So a little bit more information about Gemini. It is ruled by Mercury, the planet of communication. It is an air sign, which represents the mind. The color is yellow. The energy is masculine. The phrase is I think. It is a mutable sign, which means subject to change. They are very adaptable. And the opposing sign is Sagittarius. So the energy between the relationship of Gemini and Sagittarius is very much the teacher and the student energy, because Geminis are the forever students. We are always learning. We love information. We always have new ideas. We will be studying something new for the rest of our lives. And Sagittarius is very much the teacher energy. They are warriors. They are wise, and the energy of Sagittarius represents higher education as well. So it is what you're going to study. It is the deep wisdom, is the deep understanding that we are sharing with the Gemini, who is so curious and wants to learn and wants to explore. So I love Sagittarius energy. It is definitely one of my favorites, being a Gemini sun. And I mean, obviously I love Gemini energy, but I'm biased, so. For Gemini's power, we are adaptable, communicative, intelligent, social, and outspoken. We are not afraid to share our opinions, even if we know that people are not going to agree with what we have to say. Gemini's shadow is indecisive because we have so many ideas you never know where to start. Scattered, again, because of all the information and ideas going on. Blabbermouth, wanting to share all the information. Unreliable because we have so many things that we want to do, don't know where to start, don't know what to do. So sometimes we can change our plans very quickly, very last minute, just feel like doing something else. And Geminis can have a fear of going deep. I think this is because we are so multifaceted. We have our toes dipped in all different puddles. We like to know a little bit of everything, that we have a hard time committing sometimes to knowing something super deep because we want to know about so many different things. So there can be a little bit of fear there of sticking to one thing and going really deep. I think it's a fear of missing out on other things too, because just having one thing, one niche, only one subject to dive really, really deep on. Although I'd love to dive deep on subjects, there's too many to pick from. Gemini's energy is similar to that of the third house, and the third house represents communication, how you connect with others, siblings, platonic bonds, friendship, and community, that kind of thing. So again, thinking back to the story of the twins, that is very much similar to Gemini's energy. It's not necessarily the exact same, but they do match each other. And so now we're going to talk about the energy in the atmosphere when the sun and moon are in Gemini. So right now the sun is in Gemini and it illuminates a certain energy for all of us. This energy is vibrant, humorous, clever, and you may be having a lot of ideas, feel like learning something new. This energy is very bright and playful, so it's a really good time to go out and have fun. Make sure you are communicating how you feel. Maybe there's some conversations you've been putting off. This is a really good energy to deal with that. It's a good time to connect with friends and be social. Maybe there's some sort of network marketing meeting you need to set up. Maybe you need to text your friend and go out for coffee. Just honor the energy of Gemini. Tune into the energy of the playfulness and the ideas and the information and all of those things. And also, if you look at your chart and find where you have Gemini, this part of your life will also be illuminated. So, for example, I have Gemini in the 9th house, which represents travel, higher education, truth, teaching, and entrepreneurship, which is really funny because honestly, in the last couple days leading up into this energy, I have been feeling, well, for one, I am starting to do my yoga teacher training and I am really excited about that. I've started already and I've learned so much and I am excited to dive into that even more because I love yoga, and it's not just the act of physically doing yoga, it's the ideology behind it that I actually find so fascinating, and it is so beautiful. And when I'm done, I will definitely share more about it with you guys. And also, I have been having this thing come up for me all the time about truth, and I am going to make an episode about it soon within the Gemini season because this is the time for me to process it and get it out and be able to communicate it. And I sometimes fight myself on sharing this, but I know that I need to. But just that having the light, that part of my light illuminated, it's going to make it easier for me to move through and navigate through this energy that's coming up for myself. So look at your chart and see where your Gemini is, because that place, that aspect of your life may be having a little extra light shed on it. So when the moon is in Gemini, again, this happens every 28 days for about 2.5 days. And when the moon is in Gemini, because Gemini is a masculine energy, it's a really good day to take action. It's a really good day to get things done. So if you are wanting to learn something new, to work on something that you're really passionate about, to read a book, study, listen to a podcast, engage in intellectual conversations, socialize with friends, and talk and ask questions with people to get to know and understand new perspectives. So it's also a good time to do any kind of networking, brainstorming, things that you do with people, working in groups, working in community. Really good time for that. Some things that you might want to be mindful of or try to avoid when the moon is in Gemini is being frazzled with too much information, arguments, being scatterbrained, and focusing on insecurities. And again, because the energy of Gemini is truly so much information and it can be overwhelming, especially if it's not an energy that you naturally have a lot of. And when it comes up, it might be a little overwhelming because can be a lot. So just knowing that, avoid arguments, because you are more likely to get in an argument when you have having all these ideas and you're feeling very strongly about them, and maybe doing something to practice grounding yourself, because it is a lot of air energy, and then you can stick to one idea and work on that instead of trying to dive into all these different ideas at one time. Because trust me, I'm a Gemini. I've tried to do it too many times and it never works out really well. So that is Gemini. I absolutely love and adore Gemini's energy. I love that I'm a Gemini. We are bright, we are exciting, we are outgoing. Yes, we have some haters, but you know what? We don't listen to the haters because we have too many ideas about other things to be spending our time worrying about them. So happy birthday to all my fellow Geminis out there. My older sister is also a Gemini. Our birthdays are only 4 days apart, and we are absolutely excited for this Gemini season. When we were little kids, we used to celebrate our birthdays together, and then there was definitely a few years where we were too cool for school and did not want to share our birthdays. And now that we're adults, we get to do our birthdays together again. So we are going to do something fun for our birthday this year. And also, I am going to have her as a guest on the podcast in honor of her birthday. So you guys will get to meet her super soon. And yes, I hope that you guys have an amazing rest of your day, an amazing Gemini season. I love you all so much. Thank you for tuning in today, and I will see you next time. Bye! Thank you so much for tuning in today and making soulful self-development possible. I am grateful for each and every one of you. If you enjoyed the show today, make sure you rate, review, and subscribe. Stay tuned for new episodes coming out every Wednesday. You can connect with me on social media at soulful.self.development. I would absolutely love to hear from you. You guys make my heart so full. See you next time.